has spent $15 million in 1 month for ribeye steak, $6.9 million for lobster tail, $225 million for furniture. He spent more in the month of September than most countries on earth spend in their defense.
Paul, do you believe
all for himself? Lobster tails?
Do you believe
while our troops are eating MREs?
No. Do you believe the Secretary of Defense is personally eating all the lobster?
Well, he can't eat 16.
Troops.
Oh, really? The troops are getting lobster.
Frequently in theater.
Oh, my God.
Troops who are going to war.
Oh, my God.
Great meal. You know that.
They're getting lobster. You are so full of it.
Over this.
You're
going to get killed over this. Internet, do something.
Really, CNN's Paul Balago wants us to believe that Pete Hegseth is eating millions of dollars worth of lobster and steak all by himself. Not even Chris Christie could eat that much lobster and steak. Maybe he could if he had the help of J.B. Pritzker, but I doubt either one of them is physically capable of crossing the aisle. Now look, it's very obvious that that food wasn't ordered for Pete Hegseth's own personal gluttonous pleasure. No, this was clearly ordered for the troops, and guess what? The troops have actually taken to social media to show some of these surf and turf meals. Take a look.
Brothers Defect has steak and lobster. How's your steak and lobster?
All right, damn near decent.
How's yours?
I'm ready for war.
We're going to war. I might have to double it. I had to run it back.
And by the way, I would like to point out that it's not as if this is the normal, typical meal for the troops. It is well known that before a major incursion or some sort of significant event, the troops eat a surf and turf meal. In fact, before the strikes on Iran, a lot of people said, hey, I'm hearing reports of the troops eating steak and lobster, something big must be coming. And so that's what really got the chatter going, especially on X. And I would also like to point out that this tradition of a pre-war feast, if you will, this actually predates America. This goes back centuries, way back to the Roman and Greek times. It's not as if this is something new. So all of that to say, it's not as if all of this was meant for pampering and luxury treatment. I mean, take a look at this photo, again, taken from social media. Now, their faces and any identifiable markings have been blurred out for obvious security reasons, but these are infantrymen cooking the steak that they got at a military compound outpost. It's not, again, it's not a life of luxury. And when we talk about expectations, too, here, when a civilian hears steak and lobster, you may think of something like this, something at, I don't know, like a Michelin star restaurant. But if we actually take a look at their trays, it's clear that all of these products were purchased in bulk. And look, it is still a treat for the troops. I am not discounting that. And hey, they deserve treats. They are volunteering and risking their lives for our country. They are fighting on behalf of our country. So hey, eat all the steak and lobster that you want. But it's not as if that steak right there is the best, finest, most expensive cut. And on top of all of that, we also have to consider the intentions here. So according to military.com, the middle paragraph here, while experiences may vary by unit and theater, anecdotal accounts from service members consistently reinforce the association between morale-boosting meals and periods of heightened operational tempo. The belief has become part of military folklore, shared in barracks conversations, deployment stories, and online veteran communities. So right there, morale-boosting meals. That tells you everything you need to know. It's not a normal meal. These are special meals, again, intended to boost morale when things are heightened and stressed. And on top of all of that, the Democrats right now freaking out about cost. Oh, $15 million for steaks and $7 million for lobster tails. Now, that sounds expensive on its surface, but when you consider all the people the Pentagon has to feed, that's actually not that much money in total. So right now, active duty, as of late 2025 and early 2026, the U.S. military has approximately 1.33 million active duty service members. Now, obviously, the Pentagon's not responsible for feeding all 1.33 million, but just for the sake of easy math and just for the sake of this argument, let's say the Pentagon has to feed 1 million people. Well, if you and I were going to go to a fast food restaurant, I don't know, let's say we were going to go to Chick-fil-A and get a large fry, get a large drink, we could easily spend $10 on a meal. So just base math. And I get that when you order food in bulk, the cost is going to go down. But again, just for easy math, just to make the point here, let's say you wanted to feed 1 million people for one meal at Chick-fil-A. Well, 1 million times $10 would be $10 million right there. And Chick-fil-A obviously isn't as nice as steak and lobster. Again, I know we're not getting into the economics of scale, but the point here being, look, on its surface, what the Democrats are doing is they're throwing out a large number. They know what you are willing to spend on steak. They know what you are willing to spend on lobster. For most of us, that is a treat in and of itself. Maybe you go out for steak once a year for your anniversary or for Valentine's Day. It's unless you're rolling in dough, it's not something most of us are going to do on a weekly basis, right? So they throw out that huge number, $15 million, $7 million, and it sounds astounding. But again, when you consider 1.33 million active service members, and then you just scale all of that out mathematically, to me, that's really not that big of a deal. But that's not stopping people like Adam Schiff from going out there. And it's not just the food they're angry about. They're also angry about musical instruments, which obviously strikes a chord with me.
So how much did you spend last year on fruit basket stands? Well, the Pentagon spent $12,000. That's a lot of fruit basket stands. But that's not all. They wasted a whole lot more money than that. Take a look.
Now, most of these purchases have no military purpose. For instance, Hegseth spent over $98,000 for a Steinway grand piano for the Air Force Chief of Staff's home. What kind of Air Force Chief of Staff? I agree. What kind of Air Force Chief of Staff needs a grand piano? Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so obviously on the channel, I have recently launched a Music Mondays. In case you're not aware of that, every Monday I am closing out the videos by playing a piano cover of a song that you guys request. So when I heard this criticism, this really stood out to me because I majored in music. I majored playing piano. I went to school for piano, got a scholarship, went to one of the best colleges for music in the entire country. So this is something that really resonated with me. Now, on its surface, it sounds like there were two egregious issues here. The first one's the cost of the grand piano itself. $98,000 for a piano? Really? We'll get to that in a second. The second issue here is where this piano is being placed. It's being placed in the Chief of Staff's house. Now, that sounds like corruption, which is what they were clearly implicating there. But when you take a closer look at the official documents, this piano is actually going to be used for the United States Air Force Band Air House piano. Now, yes, it is true that it is going to be placed in the Chief of Staff's house, but why there? Is it because the Chief of Staff loves classical music and he loves playing the piano? No, it's because that's where the performances are held. And again, according to the document, quote, these performances, often involving foreign dignitaries and domestic dignitaries, demand an instrument of exceptional quality and suitability. So let me get this straight. You are bringing foreign dignitaries, foreign heads of state, people who could be allies or people that you're negotiating with, and you're trying to commune with them? I don't see the issue with that. Music is a language that everyone can understand. It sets the tone. It can get people to relax. And hey, if you are hosting foreign dignitaries, you want to be a good host. You want to show hospitality. That includes good food and, hey, even entertainment. Now, the cost of the piano, some people may say, well, $98,000 for a grand piano, that seems really excessive. That is actually half the cost of the standard Steinway grant. So your typical Steinway concert grant is going to be anywhere between $187,000 and over $280,000. So to me, the fact that they're getting it at almost half cost, why aren't people praising the Pentagon for their cost savings on this grand piano, which isn't, again, going to be used just for personal entertainment and personal pleasure? No, this is going to be used to entertain and charm foreign dignitaries, people that we're hoping to improve our national relations with. And on a personal note, some of you may remember over a year ago, I shared a video on the channel of me playing a concerto with an orchestra behind me. And that piano that I played the concerto on was a $500,000 piano, and I played that piano many times. And so when I heard that this concert grand piano was only $98,000, my first thought was, wow, the Pentagon got a steal. Now, all of that being said, the Democrats are still using this bogus story in an attempt to not only bash Pete Hegseth, but by extension, bash the entire Trump administration. Take a look at what Chuck Schumer posted. Hegseth spent $93 billion in 1 month, roughly the cost of extending the ACA tax credits for 3 years. But instead of lowering Americans' healthcare costs, Hegseth, wait a minute, Chuck, this logic makes no sense. what does Pete Hegseth have to do with the ACA? What does he have to do with lowering healthcare costs? Isn't it the job of Congress, the House and Senate together, to set the budgets? Don't you guys appropriate and allocate money, not just for the Pentagon, but for all these different departments, and yes, even for the ACA tax credits? Why are you blaming Pete Hegseth for this? If you want to blame someone, maybe you should look at yourself. Maybe you should look at your fellow colleagues in the Senate and the House. Why? All he's doing here, this is all deflection. That logic is just so bad. And unfortunately, there are so many people out there who are not educated or thinking critically about how government functions and the roles of the different branches of government. So they just think, oh my goodness, the Pentagon spent this much money and that's why we have homelessness out on the streets. No, Congress allocated that money to the Pentagon. And the reason they spent that much money in 1 month is because it was September, and September is the end of the fiscal year. Even CNN is admitting this. Take a look. Use it or lose it. Pentagon spending binge sets record in final days of fiscal year. So what Congress does is they allocate money to all these various departments, and if they don't spend it, the money gets returned. And no, unfortunately, unspent money doesn't get returned to the taxpayer. Instead, it goes to the Treasury and is just spent somewhere else. So at the end of the fiscal year, every single department has every incentive to spend that money. Let me just give you an example, again, just for the sake of easy math. Let's say Congress gave you $10 million to spend this year, and for whatever reason, let's say you could only spend $8 million. Well, the next year, Congress is going to say, oh, that person doesn't need $10 million. We're only going to give them $8 million because clearly that's all they spent. And so what they do is they reduce the budget, and no department wants to lose its budget, right? It's easier to maintain than it is to ask Congress for more money, especially in today's day and age with Doge and people being more concerned about the debt and the deficit. This is a survival tactic for these various departments. And hey, guess what? If Congress doesn't like it, they have oversight. They're the ones who control the purse strings. But instead, they've given departments free rein because Congress, for whatever reason, not just recently, but in the last few decades, they haven't been doing their jobs. Yet they attempt to play politics with this stuff. It is complete BS. Well, the best example of this is the funny math by New Mexico Representative Melanie Stansbury. But before we get to that, I would like to acknowledge the members of today's Governor's Club. They are Jeremy 2001 Happy, Lisa, nice to meet you, Lisa, Super Romer, Dragoan, and Moon Fairy. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I am glad that you enjoy, and I'm glad that you're here. Without further ado, here's what Representative Stansbury had to say about Pete Hegseth.
And that is probably why reporting now is telling us the Secretary Hegseth misappropriated $93 billion, not million, but $billion, just a couple of months ago on lobster and king crab and cable TV and furniture for the Department of Defense. These are your taxpayer dollars that he went on an absolute blowout spending spree at the Department of Defense. While these folks at the administration are telling you that they don't have enough money for American health care and food assistance and housing for the American people, and Pete Hegseth has $93 billion to waste on furniture and crab and lobster at the Department of Defense? Come on.
Don't forget, it's the Democrats who said, oh, illegal immigrants, just come across the border. We'll give you free health care. We'll give you free SNAP benefits. Weren't they just saying that a year ago? Heck, I believe they were saying that as recently as this year. And she is upset that we're spending money on our troops, spending money on national defense. And again, that is money that Congress appropriated and allocated. If Congress wanted to spend money, if you, Representative Stansbury, wanted to spend money on ACA or food benefits, I mean, why didn't you vote for it? Why aren't you fighting for it? Why are you pretending that Pete Hegseth stole money from other areas of the budget? That's not how it works. And as far as misusing money, did you allocate specifically line items that the Pentagon needs to be spending money on? Or did you abdicate your responsibility? Did you fail as a representative and just say, hey, you guys spend this much money? Because that's typically what's been happening the last few years. So I just don't want to hear it. Now, as far as her funny math, it wasn't just that video. She also posted this, and she lists out everything, and it looks like a big waste of money. I added this all together. It is $3.7 billion. Now, while that sounds like a lot, that only accounts for I mean, not even, they're complaining about the $93 billion that Pete Hegseth spent. And what she posted here is not even $4 billion. And a lot of this is on food. Now, the $3.5 billion for cable TV is actually a misrepresentation because it's not just for cable TV. It's actually for IT services on military bases. So that goes far beyond just making sure their TVs work for entertainment. By the way, they also use it for news updates. And I would also believe that they need working phones and working internet. It just is an absolute joke. As always, though, all of this is just my analysis and commentary. That's what's happening in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So what do you think about these reports of Pete Hegseth's spending at the Pentagon? I know, obviously, most of us here are very concerned about the debt. We're concerned about the deficit. We're concerned about waste, fraud, and abuse. But to me, none of this fits into any of that. And I just have a hard time sympathizing with Democrats and all these representatives and senators complaining when they're the ones who create these budgets, vote on them, and then pass it into law. So am I missing something here? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.